Today we're diving into the story of someone who operates at the fascinating crossroads of three very different worlds: deep academic research, high-level national policy, and on-the-ground economic growth. We're talking about Dr. Murali Darshan, a true architect of opportunity who builds the bridges between big ideas and real, tangible impact. So how exactly does he do it?
It's a huge question, right? Especially for any university or research institution. I mean, how does all that hard work in the library and the lab actually make its way out into the world to create jobs, boost a country's exports, and really shape its economic future? Well, the answer usually comes down to very unique people who can speak all three of those languages.
And this is really the key. Dr. Darshan's career is this incredible case study of how one person can be that vital link. He takes complex, pioneering research, turns it into smart government policy, and then, and this is the crucial part, actually rolls up his sleeves and helps implement that policy through profitable, real-world business partnerships. So let's break down how it all works.
Okay, so where does it all begin? Well, like any great structure, it starts with a rock-solid foundation. Before you can advise governments or launch major projects, you've got to have that deep expertise. And for Dr. Darshan, that foundation is built on decades of groundbreaking academic work.
And when you look at his academic credentials, they are seriously impressive. We're not just talking about theory here, we're talking about being a true pioneer. He earned one of India's very first PhDs focused specifically on the World Trade Organization. And then he shared that knowledge at some of the best institutions out there. From being a professor at the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade to a visiting professor at Stanford, literally helping to shape the curriculum for the next generation of global business leaders.
And crucially, this research wasn't just for academic journals. It tackled the biggest real-world questions. How does a country like India really compete on the global stage? What's the actual on-the-ground impact of trade policies on jobs? And get this, he even researched its impact on the very fabric of democracy. This is the kind of work that doesn't just sit on a shelf. It practically begs to be put into action.
So you have this incredible research. The next step, and this is a jump not many can make, is to take it from the university and bring it straight into the halls of government. This is the second pillar, Dr. Darshan as a national policy architect.
And here you see that expertise translating directly into action. He didn't just write about policy, he literally wrote the foreign trade policy for an entire state, United Andhra Pradesh. And on a national level, he was a key advisor for huge government initiatives aimed at expanding India's economic reach all over the world, from major pushes into Africa and Latin America to a strategy for strengthening the brand India image right here in the USA.
His influence didn't stop at India's borders either. He was brought in as a lead consultant to train officials from all across South Asia, the SAARC nations, on how to navigate the very complex world of the WTO. That's about lifting up an entire region, making everyone more competitive on the world stage.
And now for the third pillar. This is where the rubber really meets the road, where theory and policy have to prove themselves in the real world. We're going to look at an amazing case study, the turnaround of a public sector company called LIDCAP, to see how Dr. Darshan turns a smart strategy into cold, hard, profitable results.
So here was the challenge with LIDCAP. It's a classic problem, right? You've got this state-owned entity with tons of valuable land just sitting there, doing nothing. You've got a local leather industry that's totally fragmented, and as a result, exports are really weak. The solution? It was brilliant. A public-private partnership, or PPP model, designed specifically to turn those sleeping assets into buzzing, high-return export hubs.
So what exactly is this PPP model in this case? Think of it like a perfect team-up. The government brings the land and the supportive policies to the table, and then private companies come in with the investment, the business know-how, and the efficiency to make things happen. It's a genius way to unlock value that was just sitting there, dormant.
All right, let's talk numbers, because for any potential partner or investor, this is what it all comes down to. And the projections here are incredibly strong. First up, a projected EBITDA margin of 30%. Now, EBITDA is a key indicator of how profitable a company's core operations are. And trust me, 30% is a very healthy number that screams efficiency.
Next, you've got the internal rate of return, or IRR, projected to be between 24 and 32%. For anyone in finance, you know that a number in that range is just fantastic. It signals a high-growth, high-return investment. It's the kind of number that makes global investors sit up and pay very close attention.
But this project wasn't just about investor returns. Look at the economic impact for this state. We're talking about generating an estimated 1,500 to 2,000 crore rupees. That's somewhere around 180 to 240 million US dollars in new export revenue every single year. That's an absolute game changer for the regional economy, built from the ground up.
And you know, a brilliant strategy has to be scalable. This wasn't designed as a one-off project. It had a super clear, phased roadmap. You start with 3 zones to prove the model works. Then you expand it to 10, and from there, you go full scale to maximize jobs and exports. It shows a real long-term vision.
So let's pull all of this together. We've seen the 3 pillars: the foundational researcher, the national policy architect, and the strategic implementer. What does all this mean for a potential collaborator, like a university or research institution that wants its work to matter in the real world? It means you get a partner who has this incredibly rare combination of skills. Someone who can dive deep into academic theory but is just as comfortable sitting on a corporate board. A person who can design a university curriculum and then turn around and structure a multi-million-dollar international business deal. This is the kind of expertise that truly bridges that gap between research and real-world funded projects.
And that really brings us to the final thought. For any academic institution, the dream is to see your work create real, meaningful change. So the question to ask is, what potential is lying dormant inside your own organization? What new partnerships, new government grants, or new global collaborations could you unlock with a strategic architect who knows exactly how to navigate all 3 of those worlds? It's a pretty powerful question to think about.